Hi everyone, I'm Lulin. So today I'll be showing you how to create a makeup look that I came up with on this little face chart right here. I have no idea how it's going to turn out because I just made it up last night. So bear with me and we're going to try this out. So I like to start with the eyes first in case there's any fallout. And my first thing that I do is use my Holy Grail primer, which is this NYX Proof It primer for eyelids. I like the entire collection, so I'm also going to be using the brow primer later. They both look very similar, so you have to read which one is which. So I'm actually going to be using a mirror because that's how I always do my makeup, so it's a little more natural. So I'm going to be using my The Rock Pirates of the Caribbean mirror, so it's the best. Just going to blend it out with my finger. I like to put a generous amount because I really want to get the waterproof effect. What's great about this primer is it makes your makeup waterproof. So while I do that, or while that's tacking up a little, it gets a little tacky, so it's not the best for blending, but I've been using nothing but this for a long time, so I've gotten pretty used to it. Plus, it's more important to me that it's waterproof and it stays on. And the other great thing about this is it gives you great color payoff. So that's another thing that's important to me. I like to learn to work with what I like, even if there are some downsides. With the eyebrow primer, I'm going to comb backwards first, just so that I get under the brows, because that's ultimately where the powder is going to go anyway. And later I'll explain what I do for my brows, because it's a little bit unique. But we're going to start with the eye look. So let me move my brushes just a little bit so I could see them. So the first brush that I'm going to be using is the e.l.f. concealer brush. It's a really small makeup brush, and I like it for the precision. It's also a really great brush for cut creases. But the reason I start with this one, even though you can't really blend with it much, is because I like to make a little triangle shape in the outer corner of my eye, because with my particular eye shape, I like the effect it gives. I'm just kind of creating the shape. Sometimes I blend this out on the edge, and sometimes I don't even blend it out. It's almost like a second eyeliner wing. But sometimes I blend it out a little bit just because with certain looks it doesn't make sense being a stark triangle. This one I think it might. So try and be as neat as you can if you're going to recreate this look with making the triangle triangular. Either way, we're going to go in with another color at the top, so it's going to blend a little anyway. So again, I'm going to do that on the other eye. There, that helps. Just gonna tap off some of the fallout and the excess pigment so that it doesn't get all over my cheeks. That's the reason I start with my eyes rather than my face, so that I could wash off any of the fallout. Wow, this looks crazy. I got a little on my lid, but that's okay because the lid, it's not going to be quite a cut crease, but on the outer corner it's really a cut crease. Which is interesting because usually half cut creases are done on the inside corner of the eye. But I like to do mine on the outer because, again, I really like this triangle look. And that's all going to be blended. So, I'm going to go back in and look at this face chart. So, I kind of want to try, this is mostly going to come in when we do the face, but I'm going to end up going in with a lot of blush contouring, kind of the look that is done a lot in some really extreme glam 80s looks, where you just kind of take the blush and maybe even some of the pigments all the way up the sides of the face and in other areas as well, and just kind of really blend them out. So this eye look is going to end up being blended out a lot more after I create the face and go over that with, you know, foundation and everything else. But for now, I'm going to go in with a blue. Now, by the way, I'm using the Lorac Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales palette because that is my favorite film, so really a lot of my makeup is Pirates of the Caribbean. I also have the Doo-Wop Cosmetics set. I love it. They're both cruelty-free, which is important to me because I only use cruelty-free cosmetics. With the exception of if family or my boyfriend or anybody gives me other cosmetics, I will use them because it means a lot to me to get gifts. But I will never actually purchase any non-cruelty-free products myself. I am a vegetarian and I'm just really sensitive about that stuff. So I'm just going over the top of it with this blue. It almost looks more like an electric blue when you blend it in with this black. So I ended up blending that triangle into almost an ombre look, as you can see. I'm not going to worry about blending it too much because once I do the face, it's going to be blended more. Okay, now just so that I get the full range of the color that I'm going to want later on my face, so I get the tones down, I think I'm going to go into my eyebrows now, just so that the darkness of my eyebrows is correct in relation to the rest of the face that I'm going to be doing. Because if you leave out the eyebrows, you're not going to really know. So some of the items will look too dark, like the eyes will look too dark and everything else will look too dark. And you're not going to get a feel of what the finished product is going to be like. So I will be right back. I'm going to get my eyebrow products, and then I'll explain to you what I'm doing for my brows. Okay, so I'm back. So what I do for my eyebrows is actually a historical method of eyebrow pigmentation. It was practiced in the 18th century. I use burnt cloves, so this is what they look like. I burn them myself just because it's cheaper for me, and it's something I keep in the house anyway. So I just kind of, mind you, I do have the NYX Proof It primer down. So, you know, this is an all natural makeup. It's going to be waterproof, which is great if you like to go swimming or if you like to become a mermaid randomly, which is honestly my goal. So, please ignore my brows. I haven't shaped them in a while. So, I highly recommend shaping your brows before you do this. Whether you use a brow shaver or you pluck, I prefer a brow shaver because it's gentler on the skin. And it just looks so much better, and you don't get all that redness. But I currently misplaced mine, so I haven't done it in a while. Another thing I like about these clothes is I don't like a really defined brow. Like, I don't put a lot of concealer around it because I like it to look a little bit soft on the edges and natural, and I like some of the hairs to be able to stick out because I think overall it looks, I like a bold brow, but I don't like a harsh brow. I don't like a brow that just looks tattooed. I like it to have a little bit of blendedness. I do have another clove that I think I'm going to start with, just so that I could get the same amount of pigment on each side. Be a little lighter. I like to keep my brows fairly separated because I like this triangle that the nose creates above the bridge right here, and I like to kind of keep that empty because I think it widens the face a little bit, separates the eyes, and gives it a little more expression. So that I might be going over with a little bit more concealer soon. Just so that my concealer... Ooh, I don't know where that cut out. It definitely cut out somewhere. Sorry, I put my palette down and I think it paused it. So I don't know how much you saw, but I used the burnt cloves for my eyebrows, and then I said I wanted to conceal just so that I have this triangle shape here that starts above the bridge. So you naturally kind of have that shape, and I like to maintain that. So I'm going to wipe off my e.l.f. concealer brush that I was using before and just go back in with concealer, especially because the reason I'm using the concealer first, I want it to sink into my skin a little bit because I do have a little bit of acne there, so when it sinks in, it'll really cover that. The foundation I'm using to conceal with is the NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat. This is one of my favorite foundations, so I'll be using that as foundation later as well. Really want to make sure that I'm getting this triangle. I don't really need to fully blend it now because I'm going to go back in with a blending sponge later. But for now, I'm just blocking it in where I want it to kind of dry and conceal. Like I said before, I don't like my eyebrows to be too sharp. But I do conceal them a little bit, just so that they look neat and defined. So I do like a bold brow, but I don't want it to go all over my face. I do like it to have kind of some barriers. Oh, look how much better my nose looks. Which is funny because I will be going back in with blush over my nose anyway, because I do like to have a little bit of red in my nose on the bottom because it looks really cute. And it just kind of creates a nice little button nose. It also brings a lot of life to the face. And you'll notice in a lot of paintings, there's some blushing around the nose as well. And I like to recreate that in my face. I do also paint. I am a painter. I am an illustrator, animator, professional artist. So I do bring a lot of that into my makeup. Okay, so now that that's down, I'm going to go back into the eyes. So I don't want to drop all this. I'm gonna go back in with the NYX Proof It eyeshadow primer. Just so that I get a little bit more, because like I said, I like to do a bit of a cut crease on the outer corners. And I really want to make sure this pigment sticks and kind of covers up the excess pigment that got on my lids that doesn't belong there. I want the dark pigment to really stay from the crease and above. Now when I go in with my lid, I like to draw my lid a little bit above, at least mostly in the inner corner, a little bit above, or the inner half of my eye, a little bit above where my natural crease is, so that even though I have a thick eye crease, it's high up above my lash line, I do like it to show a little bit more, because once I put the eyeliner and everything, I don't want it to be hidden when my eyes are open. So, what color do I want to do for this look? I always pick something a little bit lighter, well, a lot lighter than my crease, and usually more shimmery. So, I might go over top with glitter. So, I have a lot of options. I always go in with the shade Silver Mist from the Lorac Pirates of the Caribbean palette. Sometimes I go into Lost at Sea. If you haven't seen the palette, maybe I should show it to you. That way you know kind of what I'm working with today. So here are the shades. Silver Mist is a really beautiful silver. It's a much warmer silver, and I love warm grays. So they're grays with more of an orangey or yellow undertone. I think we're actually going to go in with this because it's one of my favorite. I'm not sure how much I like the color silver with blue, but since it's a warm silver, I'm going to go in with it. I don't think this is quite dried yet, so I'm going to go into the brow bone first. So I'm going to take the e.l.f. crease brush. Hold on, I'm going to free up one of my hands. This is the e.l.f. crease brush. That's what I use as my more fluffy option. And I'm going to go in with the shade Compass, which is a beautiful peachish, almost neutral, but more in the peachy tone shimmer. And it's a beautiful shade for the brow bone and for blending out the crease. At least on my particular complexion. It's going to be different with every complexion and every shade of skin. But honestly, all skin tones are neutral. And a little bit of pop of something neutral, but a little bit less neutral always looks great. And this is going to be lighter than most skin tones because I have extremely fair skin. But it's not going to be so light that it looks like a stark white clown face. So even if you have really dark skin, this should look really great because it's just going to give you a peachy shimmer. I can't guarantee it though because I'm only doing it on my face for right now. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on someone with darker skin at a later time so we could kind of see how it translates to different skin tones and especially very different contrasting skin tones so that you get a wide range of what the possibilities are. So now I think the primer's tacked up to what I want it to be. So I'm going to wipe off my, like I said, I'm going to go back in with the e.l.f. concealer brush and with my Silver Mist. Like I said, this is the perfect brush for a cut crease, in my opinion anyway. And I like this to almost be a cut crease on the end. A little bit softer than a total cut crease. Hi, Sam. That's my doggy. He's kind of interested in what I'm doing a little bit. He doesn't know. Although he is pretty used to me talking to myself. And I like to draw almost a triangle shape to my lids. So where the triangle's peak is closer to the inner half of my eye, which gives it, with this triangle, it gives it a nice, interesting peak shape. It's a really cool, cartoony shape is what I'm after. Really want to cover this line right there. Oh, that looks so much better. Look at that. It's so clean now. And then we're going to go back in and define that lid shape a little bit by bringing out the crease a little bit more with the shade Tell No Tales, which is a beautiful purpley undertoned brown. Just a little bit, just to draw out a little bit of a crease, blend it a bit so that it's not really harsh, but it's almost pretty cartoony, which I like. That's a good shape. When I do a cut crease or a more defined crease, I like to really consider what the shape of the lid is going to be, so that way, because it's going to stand out, so that way I'm not creating a crazy shape that doesn't match up with my lid's natural shape or look like I created a new natural shape. I want to focus really hard on the lid because it's going to be very prominent. And I want to make sure it's a shape that I like as a silhouette and for the rest of my face. So that's the look that we got going on right now. Okay. So that's most of the eyes done, actually. And then what's interesting, actually, I think, should I add glitter to this? I don't know, because I might want to put glitter around my face. I'm going through my crazy bag of makeup and see if I even brought my glitter out. I don't know if I want to do glitter quite yet. I think I'm gonna, so I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go get my glitter. Okay, everyone, I'm back. It just so turns out that my glitter happens to be here the whole time, and I just couldn't find it. So to make sure that the glitter actually sticks to my lids, I'm going to be using the NYX glitter primer. It's fancy holographic packaging. And again, I'm going to use my e.l.f. concealer brush, especially since I want to mask or mimic the shape that I created for the lid. So, creating a nice, not sticky, but a little bit tacky base for the glue. I do one eye at a time just so that the adhesive sticks. Oh, by the way, I'm using the NYX glitter in the shade 6, which is the holographic one. I forget what it's called. I think it actually has a name. But it's the holographic one. So it has prismatic colors in it. So you could see pretty much the whole rainbow when the light hits it. Go back in with the concealer brush again and just pat that glitter onto where I placed the primer. I might need more glitter than this. This is where fallout will get really intense if you have any, because with glitter it's really difficult to remove and it shows even underneath foundation. It looks terrible, so I definitely like to do this before my foundation. Okay, I'm going to do the other eye off camera so that this isn't a really long video. Okay, the glitter is complete. Just going to close everything up. And I'm going to go in with the liner. Now, I do this before I do my concealer. That way I could really conceal around the liner, just to make sure that any eyeshadow sticking out around the liner is concealed. Because if there's eyeshadow coming out, peeking out underneath the wing, it looks really bad. And it just kind of makes your wing look lumpy, even if it's perfectly straight. Which mine always are, because I do them every day. And I don't want to see them perfect, but... For liner, I am using the Wet n Wild waterproof liquid liner. This is my favorite liner. It's the one I use every single day for the past, well, since I started using it a few years ago. It's the only one I use. It's cheap, it's cruelty free, and it looks really beautiful. I will say it has more of a satin finish than a matte finish, if that's a problem for you. But it isn't for me, because I kind of like the dimension that it gives me. I like to start out with the wing. I draw a little triangle at the edge, fill it in, and then connect it to the other corner. Now, after I put my foundation on, I might end up actually making more of a cat eye and bringing the inner corner down a little bit for an even more dramatic look. You gotta really be careful that you conceal that glitter with the liner, because if it peeks through, it looks a bit messy. Okay. Those are the wings done. I'm going to use the Mario Badescu Skincare from Ulta for a little bit of moisture on my face before I go in with a, that's a lot. I accidentally put a lot. Whatever, you could use it as hand cream. It's just a moisturizer. Just to moisturize my face before I go in with the foundation. Just so that I get a plumper base for where I'm going, and also it helps prevent acne and anything. It really just keeps the skin nice. Then I'm going to go in with just a little bit of the Smashbox Photo Finish primer, just to make any pores look a bit more invisible. Just here, because I have really I don't have very obvious pores. So what I'm going to use for foundation is actually a BB cream. It is the e.l.f. BB cream. And oh no, my blending sponge has disappeared. Alright, I'll be back after I find it. Okay. I have so much hair everywhere. I don't want to get it underneath the foundation. That would look terrible. I would never do my makeup with my hair down either. It always has to be really out of my face before I even attempt it. My only issue with my routine is that I use the Smashbox Photo Finish. Is not a water base, so this water base foundation is kind of awkward over it, but it works once I set it. So what I'm doing, I use it because it has SPF in it. So I'm just going to finish that off camera so I'm not wasting anybody's time. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my favorite setting powder, which is the e.l.f. Translucent Compact. Definitely, if you're going to use this, use the sponge it comes with, because I know a lot of people don't like to do that. They like to use their brushes, but trust me, the sponge is what's going to give it the finish you want. If you use a brush, it's not going to look correct. It's just going to look patchy. It also mattifies. This particular one, I have the mattifying one, which is great because it just makes, it doesn't make you look dry. It just looks healthy, but not too wet. Like, it makes me look not greasy and slimy. Which I don't actually have very greasy skin, but once I put foundation on, I feel greasy looking because of the shine from the foundation. Sometimes even when it dries down, it's moisturizing, it plumps up, but it'll just look a little more shiny than I want to be. I like to have a nice clean canvas. This really gives me everything I want, and it makes my makeup stay on forever. It's my favorite product. I love this. Like I said, make sure you use this sponge that it comes with. It's the perfect texture so that it doesn't look patchy, and pull up your makeup, because a brush will definitely pull up the foundation underneath and make it look like this did more damage than good. So use, I can't stress it more, use the sponge it comes with. It is the softest, most delicate, beautiful sponge. And it really is the perfect consistency. Now that my face is flawless, I'm going to go in with the palette that I've been using as a mirror. Sorry, it has a lot of glitter fallout on it right now from the glitter I was doing, but just pat it, it'll go away. Use one of my unicorn brushes that I got for my birthday from my mother. Thank you, Mommy. And I'm going to start with that beautiful blush contour. Take this blush all the way up the sides of my face. Very 80s. Really want it to be pigmented. Don't worry about it being too 80s because it's not that bright of a... It's a more neutral pink, the one I'm using. There's an even more neutral blush color right here. Some people think it's a contour, but it's not, because obviously that would only work on people with super fair skin, and it's a blush. It's a neutral blush. It's called Lost Soul. The one I'm using is called Caribbean. Helps too if you use these little almost half circle shapes. That's what's going to give you a lot of pigment, color payoff, but also blend it out. So half circles, little half circles, little half circles. Pretty good. And then I'm going to use a smaller fluffy angle brush for a bit of a highlight. I'm going to go in with Fortune, which is the lightest highlight shade because I have very fair skin. And again, little half circles. That way you could contain the shapes of the area you want it to be in. If you go too much outside of it, it's going to change the contours of your face and look really funky. So it's a nice bold highlight. So now I'm going to go back in and finish my eyes. We didn't do anything on the bottom. For this look, want to do something on the bottom. So I'm going to go in with the same obnoxious e.l.f. concealer brush as always. Oh, first I want to make sure I put down a little bit more primer because it's obviously all been covered up by all the other products. So I really want something for this bottom lid to stick to, because if not, it's not going to last all day and it's going to disappear before everything else does. This is my secret to keeping my makeup on all day. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Definitely sneeze away from your makeup because you don't want to contaminate it. It lasts longer if it's not contaminated. So after I kind of almost tightline it with this shadow, I'm going to go and almost mimic my wing, but as if it was the wing's shadow. I love how this just opens up the eyes and gives it an extra dimension. So I'm going to go in with a little triangle shape in the under eye too, but in a lighter color. Honestly, I would prefer to use an angled brush, but this one's right in front of me and I don't feel like looking for my angled brush, so a nice flat brush will do. Just make sure to go over it till it's all filled in so it doesn't look lumpy. Okay. Now I'm just going to darken up the lash line a little bit with the color Black Pearl, which is a gorgeous duochrome black. It glows green, but when you blend it out, it becomes brown. But it's a base of black. It was obviously the first color I hit pan on. It's so unique and so beautiful. I mean, don't worry, I bought like 100 copies of this palette on sale. It's a pricier palette for me because I mostly only buy drugstore things from Target, but I actually bought this at Ulta when it was on sale, and I'm gonna buy another one from Kohl's now that it's on sale. It's half price. It's like $26 right now, which is incredible for this gorgeous $52 palette. Honestly, I know it sounds like a lot of money, and I did invest a lot, but it is so high quality. It is so beautiful. So that gives my eyes a beautiful shape, almost a Marilyn Monroe shape, but not really because it's kind of its own thing. It doesn't look quite Marilyn. It's a little more dramatic than that, but I'm going to go in with my favorite mascara, which is the e.l.f. Waterproof Lengthening and Volumizing Mascara. It is like $2 or $3 and it's incredible. I don't need to build it up too much, obviously, because I always wear fake lashes, but if you wanted to, you really could, which is amazing for a drugstore, especially for something as cheap as e.l.f. I love the shape it gives me. It's almost, I like when the lashes, I don't really like separated lashes. I don't like fluffy lashes. I like slightly more spidery, but also smooth lashes. Smooth and spidery. They kind of like little sun rays or something. Just coating them enough that they look a little bit thicker, but also bring back the pigment that was lost by all the eyeshadow fallout. So that's pretty perfect. I'm gonna go in with, let's see what lashes I'm gonna use today, guys. So every year my tradition at Target is to buy as many Fright Night lashes as I can when they go clearance. So here is my stash. So far, in maybe a day or two, it's going to go to 75–90% off. So I'm going to get even more because I use these all year round. It's not just for Halloween for me because these are gorgeous, fun lashes you could use to create bold looks. So for this particular look, I think I'm going to go in with some Mesmerizing, which for me is an everyday look. They have gorgeous tapered hairs. Like, every hair is tapered so it doesn't have a blunt edge. So it just kind of feathers off into nothing. You get top and bottom. So I might just be using the bottom for this because the top lash bands are really thick. And in the past year, I've been having a very bad reaction to thick lash bands, which is really unfortunate because lashes are my life. And these were my holy grail of lashes before that happened to me. But I'm just going to cut them down and hope for the best. Don't blow on the lashes. That's not good. You're going to get a lot of bacteria on them. I know a lot of people like to blow on the glue to make it dry faster, but please don't. You're going to get bacteria on it, and that's going right on your lash line, which is a great place to absorb bacteria, so don't do it. Don't do it. Shake it if you want, if that makes you feel better. I just apply them with my fingers. Maybe slightly below my lash line, so they appear a little bit longer. Now these aren't quite as dramatic as I want them to be. I know that sounds crazy. So I might end up going in with some more after this. So I'm actually going to go in with the snippings from the excess. Yeah, maybe my eyes are pretty small. Plus, I like to keep my lash bands, not my lashes, as short as possible. Just so that they don't irritate my eyes. Because as I've gotten older, literally over the past year or so, my eyes have gotten very sensitive to thick lash bands. And to anything that would poke me in the eye. And I have blown up quite a bit. So when I wear these kinds of lashes, I definitely like to make sure I'm putting eye drops in and checking all day long to make sure that I'm not getting any irritation. I've never had a particular problem with this model of lash before, but like I said, I'm only able to buy it once a year, so after a while, if I can't wash them anymore, I have to kind of give up. So this particular one has been a while since I've used it, so hopefully it'll be good. So after that, I will not finish a look without putting my little 18th century style beauty mark right here. Location, location, people. This means unavailable. So, I don't want to be flirty, gross. And then I just put a few by my hairline because I like the look of that too. Lovely. I think it adds a lot of elegance. Now it's a matter of determining what lipstick I'd like to use today. Ooh, I don't know. Let me think about that. Oh, in my face chart, let's return to my face chart. I decided, oh, I gotta put a little red on my nose. I almost forgot that. A little bit. I like to use a little bit of shimmer blush on this part. That's cute. And I forgot a lot of the areas I like to highlight. Perfect. Then I'm just going to do a little blush contour right here where my face is a little less defined. I like to eat snacks, guys. Snacks, snacks, snacks. So, makes your face a little less defined. I don't want to look like I have a beard, so Try and keep that under the chin as much as possible. Still almost looks like a beard, but you know, snacks. So like I said before, remember I said I wanted to bring some of the color up into here? We're going to do that, except I'm going to use my Doo-Wop palette instead, if it hasn't gone totally missing, which it looks like it has. Alright, give me a second to locate that. Okay, found it. World's best palette, guys. Look. If that ain't the most gorgeous. I mean, I don't know if you'd call it a palette. It's an eye duo. So you get two colors. Both shimmer. Both very unique for Pirates of the Caribbean because most of the Pirates of the Caribbean colors, at least from the new film, Dead Men Tell No Tales, are less purple. But this is from On Stranger Tides, which has mermaids, so perhaps that's a contributing factor. So I'm just going to take this bigger, fluffy unicorn brush and just take this color, and the purple color, by the way, and drag it from my corner of my eye, from that blue color, all the way up into this contour here. Giving that kind of crazy 80s vibe a call. Hi 80s, coming for you. Not gonna lie, guys, 80s looks best on me. I think I was made for the 80s as far as makeup and clothing goes. Just always has fit my body the best. So, mind you, my drawer is filled with shoulder pads, and my closet is filled with puffy sleeves, because for whatever reason, it really suits my body type, and I really don't care what other people think. I really like that loud, I don't care look for clothes. And I'm going to go in and take this purple and do a little bit of contour blush in the middle of both of those action right here. Really bring out my crazy 80s vibes. So far we've mixed the 1980s with the 1700s, because that's how Lulin rolls. That is her two favorite fashion periods. Nothing natural about this girl. Likes to go for the crazy stuff. Yeah, I'm bringing purple under there. What you gonna do about it? Still, so back to what I said about the lipstick. I said I picked brown in my little face chart. So why not? We're going to go in with the brown. It's called Barbossi. Where I put it, I don't know. So again, gonna go look for that. As per usual, it was in my pocketbook because I never go anywhere without this. Oh, it's so worn out. I collect Pirates of the Caribbean. My whole room is Pirates of the Caribbean, so it's really sad for me that this is all ruined. But it's okay, because obviously I bought more than one. It's me. But this is my go-to shade, because I really like how it looks on my complexion. And I mean, the name, Hector Barbossa, is one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite. And I'm a bossy woman. I have a take charge personality. I always like to be in a leadership position in one way or another. It's just who I am. So I'm going to just take this right now because I was almost sitting on my palette, but I just want a really small. It actually has a mirror on it, but I didn't want to ruin it, so I didn't take the film off of the mirror. I should have probably applied lip balm first because my lips are dry. You could tell I used this. I used it a lot. I love how it looks on the top lip. I'm kind of getting it all over. I should have used the lip liner. Or a lip brush. So that's the color I was going for, and I don't hate it. It does look a lot like my face chart. Of course, my face chart's a little more extra because I hand drew it, so I went a little crazy. Which, speaking of, I'm going to go back in with my little duo and just darken up the purple all over my face. Gonna put a little bit more of my primer on just so that it has something to stick to, because the reason the pigment doesn't look so dark, because not only is it a purple, and purples of all pigments have the least color payoff because they are the most difficult to make. Of course, this one has a lot of payoff actually because it looks pretty much like it does on the palette, which is great. But I'm just going to go over that with a little bit primer and then go back into it. I'm going to let it set a little bit and use a much fluffier brush so that I'm not making it too harsh. So I really want it to look blended. Okay, and then I'm going to actually take that down into here. I'm going to get a little harsh with it just because I want to take that primer and blend it through a little bit. Should have let it dry. It looks better when it's dry. Yeah, this is what I'm living for. That purple. Ugh, this side is not my favorite side. But I'm gonna make it my favorite side. You better believe it. Believe it! I'm a Naruto fan. Judge me if you will. But I personally find him to be one of the most relatable characters in television history. For me, anyway. He has a lot of social issues and in ways that most characters aren't portrayed with. So I really like that. I'm going to go over Barbossa a little bit with this mermaid purple on the lips. Just kind of pull the lip together just in the center because I definitely want Barbossa to show through. I want that brown in there. And I think the brown and the purple look gorgeous together. So that's the look on my face chart. I'm just going to set it with my hopefully not missing setting spray. Because it just so happens I have misplaced literally everything in my makeup arsenal. Including that. Would you believe it? Be right back. Alright, so yeah, I don't know where I put my setting spray. I've been kind of moving around and traveling a lot and going from one room to another just to find the perfect lighting for my makeup looks. And in that process, I misplaced my setting spray. But that's okay. Who needs to set their perfect face? I'm not angry. But anyway, so this is the completed look. Try and get the light on the glitter. It looks different in different lighting. Some lighting it looks a lot warmer. This lighting it looks a lot cooler. Gonna take my hair down, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will hopefully be back with another one soon. Bye!